Because I'm a fat ass and I was just running up and down the stairs.
Winded going up and down the stairs. That's not a good, strong start, mother. Not a strong start. Let me move you over just a hair. I think we're good. I think we're good. Put that there. Where's my... I'll do the TikTok pull out. We won't be able to share screen, but that's okay. How was the week, mother?
Terrible.
Why is that?
Just in general. It's a terrible week.
Dillagram?
Believe it or not, she's just a small part of it.
All right.
But anyhow, it's all good. It's okay.
I hear I'm coming up next weekend. Is that the plan?
I think so. I think I'm zoning in on some or narrowing in on some flights at the end of next week. So
Next week, okay.
yeah, your dad threw me a curve. He's always Mr. Driver. I just assumed we were driving. He's like, oh no, we're flying.
Yeah, he told
says it
me.
like you should know that.
Yeah, he told
Like,
me that he was flying, so that's why I was like, oh.
he tells you guys stuff and he thinks he's telling me.
Right.
So he acts like you should know this. Like, how would I know this? All I ever hear from you is I don't want to fly. It's the same amount of time we're driving. I'm in my own car, so I just assume okay, we're gonna drive. Oh no, I want to fly. So,
Well,
okay.
and Sue and I get to do the 8-hour drive. Woo.
She mentioned that, but I said you could fly if you want to because it doesn't cost you anything.
I guess that is kind
All
of
on
true.
Grandma.
Yeah,
All on
problem is I
Gina
don't
and
want
your-
to fly out of Wilmington.
Wilmington's not bad. That's just like an hour and a half, right?
Yeah, it's more like 2. It's closer to 2 hours. We could
All
do
right,
it.
well-
It's not that big of a deal, but
Keep that thought when you're on hour 5.
yeah, good point. Or we go from New Bern to Charlotte and up, but
Hey, it's whatever you guys want. Like I told Aunt Sue, you know, it's not. You do what's the most convenient for you, given the fact that we're helping Grandma out. She's paying for it, so
true.
whatever
true.
you want to do.
Yeah, our week was pretty good. No complaints. Oh, what's up? I'm reading I got the chats going over here. I got mom. I got this. I got that. She's probably she would say hi too. Henry,
Yes.
but
Hello to whoever.
yeah, last night we went from wine night and Chinese food, which honestly worst combo ever. Don't do that. Way to the indigestion.
Oh, you did
was,
wine first, then went out for Chinese?
No.
or-
Brought it home to my place.
Okay.
Then everyone brought desserts, and let me tell you, Harris Teeter makes a good assortment of cheesecakes. I don't know if they come in like slices, but I was.
Oh
yeah,
no, that's too close for Chris. That's too close.
too close. Yeah, I wouldn't do it again. But and then we ended up going out to New Bern, and then we were out for a little bit, and then that was pretty much it. So it was a eventful night, but then it started to rain. It started raining super late, so we got back somewhat early. Jordan drove me home. I was like, yes.
Okay.
So, and then I think
That's
Brooke
good.
and Carmen came back a little later, but not too much later. So, pretty uneventful Saturday. I missed the UFC. I expected them to play it at the bars, but they said it's $10,000 just to run a pay-per-view at a bar. I was like, what?
Oh my god.
How
That's
crazy is that? Yeah, for watching fees. So,
Then don't they get it for the year though?
no, I think it's just for that pay-per-view. Like, I think bars specifically,
That's crazy.
because you're catering to so many potential people, you pay per, like, average amount of people that come in.
Oh yeah, I'm not a bar. My name's Joe. I just need a hookup.
Yeah.
Yeah. How they gonna know? Unless you claim to be a bar.
Salty libs.
On TV. How they gonna know?
Libs. Jeez, Daniel. Yeah, so I ended up missing the UFC fights, which kind of sucked, but I caught the tail end of the big UFC fight last night, which was Dustin Poirier's final fight, but then I hung out with the
I was
guys
gonna
for a
say,
little bit.
how could you miss that? They're usually going till 2 in the morning before they get to the good ones.
I got back to my apartment at like 12:45, and then by the time I like sat down, showered, of course, showered.
Because you
got-
sweat when you eat,
Yes, I sweat when I eat. I sweat when I'm out. It was hot in there.
especially cheesecake number 5.
Yeah, cheesecake number 5 was when it hit me. I was like, ooh. So I ended up missing it, and I was a little bummed. It's like,
Replay, reruns.
Yeah, but then let me tell you, I realized I'm just not that interested anymore. Like, the UFC kind of bores me now. Yeah,
Oh,
I don't know. I'm just like, I'm kind of over it. It was a fun, like, 5 years.
you were just in it for the Ben and Jerry's. I know you.
Yeah,
for the
and
quick
the
check from Ben and
food,
Jerry's.
yeah, exactly. So, and then when we had Chinese food last night, I was like, another reason I could eat at a
We had
UFC.
Japanese grandma and I on Friday.
Oh, you did Kiku?
Yeah, we had so much left over, a mound of rice left over that we were eating it the next day for dinner and for lunch and everything else just to get rid of it. It's good
That's
for
the same
something to do.
position I'm in right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
got a
hoping
fridge
that
full of
I
stuff.
gave Brooke some before because Brooke was like, "Could I steal some food?" I was like, "Please, I can't eat all
Yeah,
this." We
take
we
it all.
we got more than we needed by a lot,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that did not help.
What do you do? Do you all chip in for it?
Yeah, essentially.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
and then the girls will bring the desserts and stuff, and that's about it. We've been
Yeah.
doing s'mores in the oven, which is actually pretty solid.
I've seen them in the air fryer.
Yeah,
People
I
have
don't
done
know.
it in the
My
air
air fryer is not great for that kind of stuff. I, I
fryer.
I might use my air fryer for like 1% of its capabilities, maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
So I gotta look up how to do certain things on it, but at the same time, as long as it makes my chicken, that's about it. That's all I need.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, as simple as
We had
possible.
Sicilian tonight, and it was not. We wanted
Oh,
regular, but at our usual place, they're not open on Sundays. What kind of pizza
pizza
parlor
place?
isn't open on a
That's very
Sunday? Yeah.
common here. A lot of people aren't
Yeah.
open on
Okay.
Sundays. Chick-fil-A started a wave, but
Yeah, I guess
yeah,
so.
I don't know why. So
So we wound up doing the Sicilian, and I had to cut it up for Gma. But one slice is very filling, so I was done. Maybe the
pathetic.
Corona I washed it down with filled me up too. I don't know.
Nah, I didn't. Oh my god, I was like those White Claws go down a little too easy. They're only 100
Yeah,
calories, but then they hit you later on. And you're like,
yeah.
that kind of sucked.
It's the gateway drug
It
to
kind of is at that point.
a
You
deeper
start with a
drinking
couple
problem.
white, you start with a couple White Claws, and all of a sudden you're doing tequila shots.
Yeah, no, none of that. None of that,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, all of a sudden
None of
you're
that.
12 tequila shots deep.
Yeah, and
Uh,
then you call a mom. I gotta go on a diet. I gotta fast for 3 days. I put on some
hey,
weight.
tequila. I believe is it tequila that's keto? One of the I think it's whiskey. Whiskey's keto. Just saying.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because it's not made with grain. I don't
Yeah.
believe. Maybe it's
Well, you
rum. I
look
don't know.
good, but you lose some brain cells. Okay.
Exactly. So, ooh, Xander, thanks for the sub. Hold on, let me just close that for. I got to turn the notifications off. Okay, Mom. I mean, where do you want to start today? We have so much to go through. Again, we can't share the screen, guys, because it would throw off a lot of things. So the way we do this, for those of you first timers, is usually we'll go through article by article, and then we'll kind of like open the topic to anyone to say anything or ask any questions. Then we'll do the next article, and then usually we end it with a Q&A. So that's kind of the idea.
I've
and
been
that's
going
it.
in reverse lately. I wrote down on a piece of paper all the hot topics this week because there were a lot. This was quite a week, let me tell you, right? And some of them were obscure to most people because so many things that they think are big stories aren't as big as these other stories. But having said that, then I said, well, let me find articles about those topics versus, oh, here's an article, I'll talk
Right.
about it. So, and then I threw in, like lawnmower guy.
Yeah, that's usually how I do
Baseball
mine.
one.
Because I watch podcasts throughout the week. So if they bring up a news topic that I'm like, oh, we can keep talking about that, or we have different opinions on it, those I'll write down and then I'll find the article. But
Right.
yeah. But I think the first one we should definitely talk about, just because it's fresh, it's new, is that Trump calls for the release of the Jeffrey Epstein grand jury testimony. Mom, can we talk about how much of a shit show this has been, in the sense of we have half of them saying you got to release all of it, and then you have the other half saying there's nothing there. Like, I feel like this is definitely one of those topics that everyone was like, which side do you kind of take? First off, your entire presidency ran on this idea of we're going to release the JFK files, the Epstein files, the MLK files, all this stuff. And now it's like you got Pam Bondi saying I have 10,000 hours worth of footage from Epstein's Island, and then you have the FBI Kash Patel saying there's nothing there. It just seems like such a shit show in the Republican Party right now,
Yeah.
or administration, I
But
should say.
believe it or not, I'm going to agree with Nancy Pelosi
Whoa!
that this is just like a smokescreen.
Really? For
Okay?
what?
Just in general, there's bigger news this week. The Tulsi Gabbard thing, that was explosive. Not to say that the Epstein thing, Trump didn't just run on that. Everybody acts like, oh, he's so full of it. That's it. No. He ran on the border and immigration. He did that in 2016, and he did it again because it's a resounding issue with a giant majority of the American people. Part of that is we want transparency, and
Right.
this is a major screw up. I'm going to put on the Department of Justice on Pam Bondi because it was handled poorly.
A lot of people
Okay,
are asking her to step down. I've seen people saying she's got to be fired or has to step down for how this went. Do you agree with that?
I don't know. I wasn't crazy about the choice when he picked her. I wasn't crazy about Matt Gaetz either, though.
Right.
So, I wanted more of a nobody, I'll be honest. I wanted a nobody, ultra constitutional individual who didn't want fanfare, wasn't looking for a higher office, who wasn't, a celebrity face in politics beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And I like a grunt because there is just that much, and this week is starting to show that. So I think that the Epstein case, yeah, I think they're screwing it up in terms of transparency and not getting the story straight. But I am starting to think that it really, not that it's a nothing burger, like it's a nothing
That's what's
story.
so strange because there's clearly something there, and it's why are we not
Right.
releasing it? And now, as of I think literally yesterday, Trump calls for the release of the Epstein grand jury testimony. So it's like
Right.
I thought you told us because there's literally a video of him saying, "Why are we still talking about this? We're talking about a
Yes.
flood, and now all of a sudden we're opening it back up." So now
Well,
it's
because he's
like,
getting backlash because, the base is not happy about
right,
it. They want full
rightfully so.
transparency. Everybody want, and I understand. I agree. I want transparency, but Coulter did a good article about we don't need just give us the people on the videos. We understand that, like she was saying, we're never going to release these videos because there's children on it, and it's a violation of their rights to release videos of that. Malarkey. They do it all the time, and you smudge out the face. We
Right.
don't want to see the children. We want to
Or just
see
give us the
the
names.
individuals
Yeah.
committing the crime. And in my opinion, you know, I'll quote Hillary Clinton: "Nobody's
What is
above the
going on
law."
today?
Exactly.
What is going on today?
Nobody's above the law. It's not fair to those individuals sitting in prison right now because they were caught on video committing a crime. They have to do time, and it was used as evidence. But now we have what? Who are these people that we can't show the video because it would be so damaging to the children that we can't blot the children out and show these individuals committing these crimes? I think that's a weak argument
The
on
only
their part.
Right. The other thing that I heard is that the 10,000 hours of footage is a lot of pornography that Epstein had that he just downloaded online, like off the internet. Don't know
Fine.
how true that is, but
I believe
also,
that.
yeah. But then they talk about how they released, I forget what video it was. It was either suicide or whatever, but there's like 3 minutes missing of that footage.
Oh, his video, yeah, the
Yeah.
night in his cell. When he
So
was gone.
it's annoying because, as I said, every American knows there's something there. I don't think anyone denies that now. The question is, like, you told us you were going to release it. You say you have everything. You said it's all here. And then you have Pam Bondi saying, I have all this evidence. We're going to release it in phases. Remember when they got all the
Yes.
influencers with the Epstein, like, phase 1 file? What was that if there was nothing? So that's why I think people understand, and by people I mean the Republicans in that cabinet, or at least half the cabinet, is saying, yeah, we kind of messed this up. We got to release it because we said we would. Like, it looks worse not to release it than to keep saying it doesn't exist because we know it exists.
Right. Well, if it's truly a nothing burger, like they're saying, then release what you have.
Right.
Okay. And everything points to there being crimes, underage people being sexually abused, and we know what his co-partner is doing time over it, right?
Right. Just like
So she was convicted of something.
she's going to have
So
to testify. She's going to testify, I
guess
think.
so.
They
I guess
they
so.
have to at this point. They're going to.
Well, she doesn't have to unless they give her some sort
Sort
of
of deal.
clemency or a sweetheart deal. Yeah, she can plead. She's already been convicted.
Yeah.
What's the benefit to her having? And I think she's already trying to jockey for some sort of a deal here. But whatever it is, she would have used it for herself. She's just going to turn out reputation. At the end of the day, there were crimes committed. I don't care about, like we talked last time. if a person commits a crime, I don't care who they are. I don't even care the ramifications if these are high level government people from around the world. That's not justice for the individuals who aren't elites who did this crime, who are sitting in prison for it, doing their time, paying their debt. They have to do time because their face was on the video, but others don't. It
Right.
stinks. It's a bad look for the
Current
this
presidency.
presidency. But I still go back to it's but people are making a bigger deal out of it. I do agree with Trump about it. It should be a slam dunk. It shouldn't be this complicated.
Right.
I feel
And
like
that's
they've made
why,
it worse.
exactly. And that's why it's very, like, there's a reason his percentages are going down. But also, I think it's weird because it goes down, but then the next day it goes up because the
Yeah,
economy
I
goes
don't
up.
think
So
the
it's
polling is
very,
going down
it's
that
very
much.
like up
Yeah,
and down. So,
yeah.
I don't
Like
know.
I
It
said,
just feels like a kick in the face a little bit.
his base is going to move on from this pretty damn fast if this Obama gate gains the traction that it
Yeah.
should.
So I guess we should bring that one up because that's a pretty big one. Let me just delete the ones that I had because we have so many articles here. I mean, if anyone has any questions about that one, we'll continue on it, but we'll kind of segue into the new evidence of Obama administration conspiracy to subvert President Trump victory in 2016. So, I mean, Tulsi Gabbard, our director of national intelligence, she's the one that brought this up, right? Like, she was the one that was like, hey, we have overwhelming evidence here that he tried to cheat
For
this.
those of us in the base, we've known this, but we didn't have the backup information. Like it was a conspiracy theory, right? Or it was a
Right.
theory. Something stinks here. Ever since the Russia, and the Steele dossier, people putting it together, something stinks. But now they're going through and they're finding information. And I also saw today, I think she was on Maria Bartiromo's show, and she was saying they're coming out of the woodwork. All the agents at that time coming out of the woodwork saying this was a shit show. This was a mess. So she's saying overwhelming evidence that the Obama administration fabricated and pushed Russian intelligence against, meaning interference into our 2016 election. So everybody on the show, if they've heard us talk about Russia, and Mueller came in, they did the investigation on the Steele dossier. Turns out it was paid for by Hillary
Right.
Clinton's
And the,
campaign, and it was basically garbage. It was not based on any fact. All right.
do you remember
What?
that hidden trial that they had on Clinton? Remember that? They put her on trial
Yes.
and, like, no one saw it. Talk about going
Yeah,
under
she
the
was
radar.
fined.
Yeah.
She was fined for it. Some ridiculous thing. FEC election money. You have to disclose certain things. So the intelligence said up to 2016, so before Trump was elected, the intelligence, everything coming in said there really is nothing definitively saying Russia was interfering in any way, shape, or form. So that's what the intelligence community said. In December 7th, 2016, then DNI Director Clapper, under Obama, he has a draft and it says there's no Russian interference in the election. We don't show anything, okay? December 9th, 2 days later, we have a meeting with Obama, National Security Team. So you got Clapper. You're going to know some of these names for those
I'll
who remember
remember.
that last administration. Clapper, Brennan, Susan Rice, John Kerry, Loretta Lynch, Andrew McCabe, and others apparently. They have a meeting with the president. Clapper is then asked for a new intelligence assessment per the president. And now he wants you to use the tools or find out what tools Russia used to interfere. Keep in mind, prior to this meeting, intelligence community said there was no interference. We don't show
Right.
anything about it. Come out of this meeting, and now Obama wants them to use any tools they can to find or to look into Russian interference and get help from all the agencies. So when you hear people talk about, how they weaponize, now all of a sudden he brings in the FBI, we have the DNI, the whole alphabet soup of intelligence people, HHS, the whole thing, to try and come up with it. And lo and behold, on January 6th, we get a new intelligence assessment that contradicted their early assessments. And that early assessment says, oh, yeah, there was some interference. And guess what their assessment was based on?
I'm gonna.
The Steele dossier.
Oh, okay. See, I thought it was gonna be based on. Do you remember when Facebook had the Zuck claimed that there was all these Russian bots that were making accounts and pushing certain agendas, and that's what they considered the Russian collusion?
Right.
Right. So it was
But
basically
I
all
mean,
big.
this is a big deal. this is blows away the Nixon Watergate years
Right.
because this is directly the president being involved in a meeting where what came out of it was they flipped the entire script. And if everyone recalls, it was a big deal. That launched two impeachments, it launched investigations, it crippled the president,
Right.
the President Trump in his first term because he spent half his time dealing with legal
Little
issues and
suits.
whatnot
Yeah.
that turned out to be totally, as he would say, fake, 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 right?
Which you probably.
Disinformation. And he
So,
was right.
Mother, what evidence do we actually have of this? In the sense, is there paper and documents that say this? Because right now we're just going off Tulsi Gabbard's word, right?
No, no, it's not a word. She's got documentation to back it up.
Okay,
because
so we
she
do have
has
documents.
access now to files, emails, other information. Give it time, you're going to find some stuff in the FBI when Patel goes through it, and all those, the whole alphabet soup. Eventually, they're going to find things to connect the dots. She's already sent it to the Department of Justice for a criminal referral.
Wow.
Now, the challenging part will be, and this is where it gets interesting. You're never going to get an indictment in Washington, D.C.
Right.
But they made the mistake of a raid in Mar-a-Lago down in Florida. If you can wrap, and I believe that there's a hint that that's coming, that this whole thing is related, and you can put that into it too, well, then you don't have to indict Washington, D.C. You can indict down in Florida and make it a bigger case. Now you might actually get a grand jury that says, you know what, I have no ties to Washington, D.C., right? This is Florida. Look at the evidence and tell me what you see. And you might actually see some prosecuting going on.
Really? I was going to say, like, have we really seen, besides Trump, like, Obama, what are the odds this becomes something? You know, I always fear now, especially with all the Epstein stuff and what we saw Trump go through, like, I always fear that stuff's not going to happen based on just documents. Does that make sense? So,
well, now she's getting affidavits from individuals, the whistleblowers.
okay.
So if they give affidavits, they're attesting under penalty of perjury, and they will go to jail,
Right.
that this is happening, that I saw it happen, or that I was involved. Some of these individuals, again, we don't know names yet, this is still early, they were involved in this, underlings or whatever who knew about it. And they're now coming forward to say, you know what, this actually happened, and this was my involvement. And they can lead you down other avenues to say, no, 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 they're going to tell you this, but this is the truth, and here's the documentation.
Really?
So I think the Epstein situation, once this other thing gains steam, the Epstein thing is just going to be, it's going to fall by the wayside.
But I still would think that most Americans, especially on the right, like his base, is still going to want to see those even after all this is done. The Obama stuff's great, but I don't think they're going to let it go.
Listen, all the base wants is somebody to go to jail.
I guess.
Just somebody.
Yeah.
No. You have to understand, and that base is growing because more American citizens, like if the evidence comes out of this, you do have some moderate Democrats who don't like the idea of a president railroading. Remember, we're supposed to have a peaceful transition of power. You don't get to create a coup. Just like Donald Trump was not allowed to create a nightmare scenario for Biden when he comes in by bugging the office,
right,
which we know Obama did, by creating a politicization, weaponization of our agencies, and completely subvert somebody's presidency, because that's the will of the American people. It's not a personal thing. Supposedly, a president's elected, and they're entitled to follow what the will of the people. They won the electorate. So that's a coup, and that goes against. It sounds, people look at it being corny, but it's goes against our democratic republic. That's what we're based on, peaceful transitions and allowing a president to do the will of the people, okay? Having said that, we want somebody to go to jail. For those of us in the base, we watched the 2016 election turn into a shit show. Nobody went to jail. You just brought up a good point. Hillary Clinton, over a fake dossier that she funded during an election against her political opponent, had to pay a fine. She didn't go to jail.
Yeah. I don't even think it was that heavy of a fine either. And plus, I think the Clinton Foundation, right, if I remember correctly, didn't they dissolve the Clinton Foundation after that?
no, the Clinton Foundation's still
He's
going.
still
Everyone
going?
was ripping into Chelsea recently because she was like, "Oh, the Clinton Foundation's going to go help the people in Texas." You should have seen some of the responses. Everyone's like, "Oh, they're going to do as good a job as they did in Haiti." It just
Right.
more into her about it.
Mm.
But like Clinton Foundation, I thought that thing was under indictment. No, again, nobody goes to jail. That's why the Epstein thing matters. That's a clear cut, easy peasy. People did crimes, don't care who they are. Send somebody to jail. Indict them, put them on trial, send them to jail. Well, now all of a sudden we're backtracking on that.
Right.
Okay, now we've got, and that was the low hanging fruit. You know, these are, I don't know who these people are. I don't care who they are. I don't care if they're CEOs. I really don't care. You broke the law, you go to jail. Doesn't
Right.
matter. Or people around the country. I don't care. Prince Andrew. Do you really think I give a crap about Prince Andrew in England?
Yeah.
Like, if these people committed a crime, there's a process. So I think that's what annoys the base the most. For what we've witnessed as citizens for the last, and mind you, this was all conspiracy theories, and we were all
Right.
nut jobs. Well, these conspiracy theories, it turns out they're not so much theories anymore.
All
There's evidence
conspiracies
to back
come
it
from a
up.
thread of truth.
Yeah.
Warlock, we'll answer any like random Q&A stuff at the end of the podcast. So I wrote it down though, I promise.
Warlock, that's a good name.
Yeah, someone's name. But yeah, so again, I still think as someone who I guess falls kind of under the conspiracy theory side of things, I still, either way, whether Obama goes to jail or not for that, I still want to know who's on that Epstein list. But I think in reality, what's going to end up happening is they're just going to say, well, the list wasn't well kept. We don't know who was on the Lolita, whatever it was called.
But Chris, the list has already been released. That's the misconception. The list has always been out there. We know names that are on it. The point is, what crimes it's just a long list
Right.
of names.
Because you don't know who just used that plane and who was actually on the island partying, right? But apparently...
No. Okay, so here's something else that was uncovered this week, not to go too deep into the weeds. But Naomi Wolf was on the War Room. She's an investigative Democrat, an investigative reporter. She did a lot with COVID, whatever. But she was trying to bring up a point that what we're finding now is Jeffrey Epstein used his money to finance a lot of think tank
Thanks. Yep.
things. So he would do symposiums at Harvard, and he would get all these great minds to come to these symposiums, top names in AI and biochemistry, everything, technology. And they would show up at these events, put their 2 cents in, and it would just be a consortium of individuals discussing it. Okay. All those people are going to be on the Jeffrey Epstein list. None of them may have ever gone to the island. None of them may have had anything to do with it.
Right.
Okay? But they will be on his list of contacts, right? So she was trying to make a point that we have to be really careful when we look at these lists, because not everybody on it committed a crime. Just because your paths crossed with Jeffrey Epstein doesn't mean you were a child molester. Right?
Okay. That might
So
be one of
we
those
know
words we
who's-
can't use on YouTube.
sorry.
That's okay. I'm gonna have to
Anyhow.
we have to get Mom a dump button.
Well, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous because it's a word. I mean,
I
it's
know,
a crime,
but
it's a legal crime.
I think it's because we fall
but
under
allegedly
certain.
be on this list for these reasons. And that was the point that she was making. She's for full transparency, but that's why the list idea is kind of a bogus idea. For all I know, my name's on the list because, you know, I knew somebody who was in a group that went to a symposium. That's the stupidity of it.
Right, if you worked at
That's
a
not a
bank. or whatever.
crime to be on the list, right?
That's what you did on the
The
island.
crime is right. The crimes are there. You know, the low hanging fruit. So that's why I feel the frustration of the base, because it's like, just give me somebody who did a crime, somebody from all
Yeah.
these conspiracies. My bigger issue is, of course, the government one, because that's pervasive. I don't want another president doing what
what
Nixon did.
Right.
Right. We don't want them doing.
And Nixon's wasn't even that bad because Nixon, right? He had to resign by proxy because it wasn't him that did it. It was other Republicans in his cabinet
Well,
that
he
did
was
it.
involved. He was aware.
Oh,
of
okay.
it.
Okay. That's what I always wondered. Was he?
But he didn't go to jail. He resigned,
Right.
and Gerald Ford took over. Obama's not even in office, so I don't
True.
know the ramifications. It will, at a minimum, if it proves to be true, it will taint his legacy, just like it
Is
did
that
Nixon.
enough?
Not for me.
Yeah, I don't
But,
think that's enough.
you know, somebody's going to jail, and you know what? Trust me, someone will take if they follow through and the facts are there. one of these people in this meeting is going to take the fall. So right now they're all lawyering up and they're all like trying to save their own asses to make sure they're not the one who takes the fall.
Right. What else do we have? Any questions on any of those guys? Anything? Well, I just pull up the next one.
I'm sure we'll see more in the future about it.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be one of those things we talk about for the next 3 months. Which was the one that we did? Oh, this was a big one this week. So, oh, hold on, is someone at my door? 1 second, mother. Let me just check my cameras.
It's another snake alert.
Connecting. Let me check. No, no, it must have been the people above me. They have a golden doodle puppy, Mom, like a little Finley. He's like this big. Yeah. Okay, so Joe Biden's Deputy Chief of Staff Anna Tomasini, is that even pleads fifth on the testimony of the fitness to serve as president, on Biden's fitness to serve as president. So basically, they were withholding medical records of his decline, right?
Well, the auto pen scandal continues. She's taking the fifth. They're all taking the fifth.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to admit to it. So that's another one. I just threw that in there because we talked about it before, and now I'm like, all right, now that little one's starting to build too. The auto pen.
The auto pen, and then
another scandal that low hanging fruit. People should go to jail over this.
Yeah.
I mean, that we're even going this far into it is mind numbing in this day and age.
But I saw, like, although she was taking some flack for it, it seems like Jill Biden was taking the most force, most blowback. Like, how could you let your husband, like, now you're seeing all the resurfacing videos of her, like, literally kind of like walking him everywhere, because it sucks because, again, we all knew that this was a thing. We were saying it was very obvious, and they go, it's not true, he's fully capable, he's mentally all there, and then they say now they're pleading the fifth on how bad his decline was. So
all of them are pleading the fifth. The evidence is out there. Now you've got the journalists who are supposed to be covering for him and for them coming out and saying it. But, I'd like to point out to people, these were pardons and executive orders. That matters. We voted for a president. And we go back to, in my opinion, I'm not even sure he was legitimate as a president. But that's for the country to decide, to prosecute, whatever. But now we all know the person that was elected had severe mental decline. And to add insult to injury for people who say, oh, no, he didn't. Now we're finding out that he wasn't even signing these things himself.
Right, he was
we don't even know he was aware of these things.
Yeah.
Okay? That's incredibly huge in our democracy.
It makes you wonder how many of the executive orders he did were even real.
That's the point.
Yeah.
And our country was really damaged by these executive orders done by individuals who were not even elected.
Right. I wonder when the decline actually was. Like, I wonder if it was going into the presidency where we had questions, or like 2 years in, like where like, was that where the big decline was? Was it when he fell on that bike? Do you remember that? That might have been the downfall.
It was during the election when they put him in the basement. Anybody go back and watch those interviews.
Yeah.
The man was struggling then. Now, it did get much worse, but for those of us who old enough to remember him when he was younger, to by the time they ran him as a candidate in 2016, we saw it. It was a serious decline. All right, talk amongst yourselves. I just got beat. Right?
Uh-oh. Graham needs you. Any questions, anyone, besides, now we can start answering some other questions if you guys want to ask them just while we wait on my mother. She's taking care of my grandmother. Oh, I guess I'll let Mom talk about that one just because she knows better than I do. But Grandma's back at square one. Grandma was trying to do some breakdancing again, and she kind of hurt herself, to say the least. Let me see. What else do we have? This one's done. I mean, we're going through these pretty quickly. So far, so good. Favorite movie? What is my favorite movie? I don't know. I'm not a big movie person, but I think the last time I saw a movie where I was like, whoa, Iron Man 3 was really good. I liked Iron Man 3. Like, I don't know if I would say, like, I haven't seen enough movies to say if I have a favorite or not. I don't know if that makes sense. But I will tell you guys, I am freaking exhausted. I slept like shit last night. Got home, woke up. I went to bed at like 2, woke up at 6:30. And then I tried taking a nap at like 3 today. Well, as you can see, I got a little bit of sunburn. I was at the pool. And then I came back. I was like, let me take a little power nap. And, of course, that's when everyone starts texting me. So that's when I was like, ugh. And then I got up. So it wasn't, to call it a nap is kind of disingenuous. But yeah.
Okay.
Oh, hello, brother.
Back. Sorry.
Hello.
What are we on?
Well,
next topic?
People want to know what happened to Graham because I realized we didn't talk about what happened to Graham on the podcast. I don't think we talked about it before and after.
I didn't realize she was a hot topic.
Well, because you just got up and I said, oh, she's taking care of Graham. So she was break dancing. Yeah, you could tell him. You know better.
You know those bars in a bar when you sit down and no, just kidding. No, she hounded your uncle, my brother, to take her up to her house in upstate New York. And it's a rush. But then when they were up there with your brother too, he went to help out. She decided to go outside to take a phone call from her front bench and tripped. Landed on her right side. Giant gouge over her eye, broken wrist.
Yeah, I have yet to see the eye. I did not realize that the eye was the bigger issue than the wrist.
Yeah, she's got quite a chunk right above her right eye and a small gash below it. That has sutures and staples that are being taken out tomorrow. Pray for me, all of you.
Yeah, really.
It's going to be quite a shit show. And the wrist it's the best possible break you could have on your wrist, meaning it's all lined up. It just has to, it's sitting there. It just has to, knit. But when you're 91, it's a bit of a challenge. And the difficult part is now she has 2 bad arms because the other one was broken before.
Back in October.
Better. Yeah. So that arm really hurts because it never really heals. So the left side's bothering her, and that's her only good arm. So she's writing everything with the left, and the right arm's pretty good. But and on top of it, she went to an emergency room. So they overkilled the cast. They go all the way to her elbow. So we're going to an orthopedist this week. Hopefully they can shrink that down because it's heavy. She's tired lugging that thing around all the time on her shoulders. When imagine the other arm with a broken arm.
See, you could have had a really cool story there. You could have said Graham got into a fight. She tried lifting a car, but you had to give the truth. Thanks, Ma.
My gosh.
You're not learning here.
Well, it was totally an accident, and I even said that to your uncle. Felt really bad that it happened on his watch. I said, listen, she used to do that with me up there. It could have happened.
She's a wanderer.
It's just a very bad, not that there's ever a good time for it, but we're making progress with Grandma where she's getting more independent. And now we've had such a setback. And when you get to that age, remember this one on that age, Chris. Hopefully I won't make it to that age because there's nothing good about it. But when you get
I'll shoot you, Ma. I got you.
I know, please. Any little thing's a setback.
The rabbits, Ma. The rabbits, the fields. Right? Isn't that what happens at the end of Mice and Men? Where he's like, George, the
staring at the rabbits and he shoots them.
What do you think? As he's putting the shells in. See the rabbits? You want to play with the rabbits?
Your brother had me laughing, Ken, because Dad and I did our healthcare things, right? So we're putting you guys down. And we're kind of alternating just to make it fair. Who's the primary? And if they're not around, who's the secondary?
Right.
He said, I don't know why I'm putting Mike on there, right? So Kenny's like, oh, I got to drive to the hospital to pull the plug. Can't I zoom it? Oh, my God.
Can't I
just sign something and somebody else pull the plug? He's like making fun of Michael. Like I said, that's perfect. That's Mike. Like, I got to do what? I got to drive to a hospital? I got to pull a plug and sign something?
Yeah.
Just mail me the papers and...
Just do it. Before we go on to the next topics, Mom, someone wants to know what's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie.
My favorite. I said the last movie I saw was probably Iron Man 3. That was probably that's the one I still think is up there for me. I don't know why.
Favorite movie? That's a tough one.
The Notebook.
I used to have I have different favorites at different ages.
I swear to God.
I always like To Kill a Mockingbird with Gregory Peck.
Yeah, of course. Of course you go for the historical ones. It is. Yeah.
I don't know. I love the way it's presented. It's a black and white. Um, Even though it's corny, I love to watch Gone with the Wind. I love The Patriot. I'll watch that over and over again.
That is a good movie. That is a fantastic movie. I thought you were gonna say
Yes.
Brokeback Mountain.
No. Oh, please. I've never even seen that. Oh,
Yeah.
please. Oh, and I love Pride and Prejudice with Keira Knightley and Matthew McFadden. They've done many versions of that, but that one I always love. I love watching it. I like the way that he filmed it. There's so many great actors and actresses who weren't huge at the time. And I recently saw her do an interview. Keira Knightley did an interview with Rosamund Pike, who both now are major actresses, and they were just starting out. They played sisters in it. And it's cute how they talk about, what their roles were at the time and how much their lives have changed since then. I think it's 25 years ago that they did it.
I just remember
10 years,
watching.
25?
I just remember watching Zorro with Dad. That was like the first movie I feel like I ever saw. Remember Zorro?
Oh, with Antonio Banderas?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I still remember.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
And
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Andre the Giant. Remember? Andre the Giant was in that.
No, you're thinking of The Princess Bride.
Oh, yeah, good call.
The Princess Bride, and that was
Which one was Zorro then?
Mandy Patinkin. Robin Wright, Mandy Patinkin, Carrie Lewis, I think his name is. Corey Lewis, something like that. And Andre the Giant. A couple other people in it, too.
Oh, that's Zorro. The Mask of
Chris
Zorro.
Brandon.
That's what the actual thing was called.
The Mask of Zorro, that was Antonio Banderas with Catherine Zeta-Jones. That was good. That was a good movie.
What? Wait, what was the one that you said that I was thinking of with Zorro and
Princess Bride. The Princess Bride.
Oh, that was a 1987 film. Damn. Family comedy. Yeah, that was a good movie. I'd have to watch that one again.
That is I put that on for your grandmother.
It is a classic.
She loved it. She thought it was really cute.
Oh, it's a classic. Okay, what else do we have? Mother? Well, I want to talk about this one because this is probably before we get into the kind of the more silly stuff, but I know Trump just redid the tariffs, right? The new segment of tariffs have started, and he's putting 50% tariffs on certain people. And the big
I just
one,
saw 100 on Russia today.
oh God, really? To Putin, he's going to do that?
Yeah,
that's pretty brutal. But the first one that I have that you might have saw is Japan. Well, okay, let me put it this way: all the people that haven't bent the knee yet, all the countries, their presidential pollings have just kind of plummeted a little bit. I shouldn't say plummeted, just went down quite a bit because the people aren't happy because the cost of living is just going up in these countries. So Japan right now, I don't know much about Japan, but the prime minister, I mean, his polling rating just went down drastically, and he's in the middle of an election. And now I just read this article, and now they're like, oh, you got to read the. Oh, that sucks. Please, now you got to pay for it to read it again. Thanks, guys. Financial Times. But yeah, basically this was talking about how just the polling numbers of all these presidents are kind of going down pretty quickly because the 50% tariffs, a lot of these countries rely on what we buy from them, right? Or the imports and whatnot. But they're really getting hit hard over in Japan to the point where the guy's like, I know I'm not going to get reelected, but I'm going to do everything possible to stay. So he's he doesn't want to step down. It's well, okay. So then what bothers me is when they talk about how Trump's such a dictator and this and that. And then these countries are like, yeah, we're not going to do that. And I know my polling numbers are down and I'm not going to get reelected, but I don't want to leave. Mm-hmm. So, but Japan is just one of them. The one that I really wanted to talk about is Brazil. Have you been paying attention to the Lula
yes,
stuff?
To some extent.
Yeah. So this is crazy to me. So, Mom, first off, real fast, let
me just say something about Japan. Everybody keep in mind, Japan has zero issues with immigrants because they don't allow them in.
Yep.
It's an island, okay? They do not understand the stresses and strains that other nations, especially an open border country like the U.S., has gone through with immigration in terms of our costs going to, with labor costs and our inflation and whatnot, with printing money because, we're not, people don't have jobs, et cetera, because bringing in immigrant forces, whatever. There's a lot of stuff that goes on that hits our economy. But that border makes a big deal. And many people You can go back in your podcast, and that was my issue. Ukraine war, everything. I said, I don't care. I want the border sealed. Everything's a diversion because until we fix the border, if we're an open border, we feel the strain. So go to Japan. They have no concept of that. They don't have an immigration problem because they don't allow them in
Right.
their
They're
country,
not able
which
to.
is unusual, but that's their policy. So when they start squawking now about tariffs, they have a nerve because countries have done it to us for a very long time where we've been getting screwed. And I am fine with charging them equal tariffs or tariffs to move the needle and say, hey, listen, we're going to put tariffs on because we want you building Hondas here in America.
Right. We're trying to bring the labor to us. Right.
Right. We need the jobs here. We do need it.
So that's pretty
Especially in
much
the
the
age
whole
of
point of the
AI.
tariffs. If you're going to have a company here, like put people here or put your companies here so that we can have jobs since we're your number one
No,
retailer.
that's
Is
the
that kind of
beauty of
the.
the tariffs. That's just one of the benefits. We're getting revenue. Remember, we said this in a couple podcasts ago. Our country used to be fully financed by tariffs. That's how
Right.
America was built. That's the whole War of 1812. That's how we got involved in that war because we were shipping to everybody, and the UK said no more to France, and we said no, that's our business. That's how we generate. We feed our people too, but
Right.
for the most part, that's where we got our revenue. It wasn't until the 40s when we had an income tax. So, we started tax other things, but that was a big chunk of funds. And he's already bringing money in. So for all the people who are squawking about, oh, we're cutting all these things in the Build Back Better, and it's going to cost us a fortune, they're not including the revenue coming in from those tariffs. Okay. And that's only going to grow as more and more of these countries have to start ponying up even more money. But go ahead.
Well, I'm so interested in the Bolsonaro, or I think I said his name right,
Bolsonaro.
Bolsonaro and Lula, because I find this hilarious that so Trump just raised their tariffs to 50%, which, okay, for those of you that know anything about Brazil, like Lula has destroyed their economy in the last 2 years. It's technically his treasurer's fault. Like the treasurer is supposed to, I didn't know this, but the treasurer, even in any country, is supposed to do like big investments for the country. So this guy didn't do those, and he just tanked the Brazilian real, or however you call it. But obviously Lula, as president, he takes the fall for that. But he's refusing to pay the 50% tariffs, and he's talking about how Trump's a dictator and he's not the person that speaks for the free world. But then on top of that, right, as of I think yesterday or 2 days ago, he literally just says to his political opponent, he's like, hey, by the way, I'm going to put you under house arrest for really no reason. For basically, the concept is they wanted to he staged a coup during the election and it failed. So he's like, yeah, we're gonna put you under house arrest for no real reason.
Well, Brazil is another example. They did the same thing in France recently. They put Le Pen, she's no longer allowed to run for office for some ridiculous amount of time. Okay? So these globalists have decided that this is what they're going to do. Exactly what they tried to do to President Trump, knock him out of contention and doing it illegally. So when Lulu, now there's a lot of questions that went on with that same election, Bolsonaro and Lulu.
Right.
Bolsonaro was trending to win by huge numbers, and
it just
out
all
of
of a
the
sudden,
blue,
yeah,
there's a
it made no
crime,
sense.
and he's had to go to jail, and they put him in house arrest. I think they threw him in jail.
He
tried
wasn't
to
allowed
get
social
out.
media. He wasn't allowed to use his phones. Literally locked him down to the point where
Yes, they're trying to do it again. They've done it in, I believe, Hungary. They've tried to do it. There was an election over there. They're trying to get all the conservatives out of the running, and they're doing it by inappropriate means. You just can't do that. Here we do it with elections. They have a little bit different over there, but they rigged their own elections. Same thing happened in Brazil. They didn't want the socialist, and that's what they got. Supposedly he won fair and square. Okay, well now you have a socialist nation in Brazil, and the people don't like it.
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard anything good about that Lula guy. I've never heard anyone say anything good about him. But
no, he's a communist-backed dictator, if you will, socialist who, by dubious means, won an election. To this day, they still don't know. Okay, now we're gonna go really deep in the weeds, but Brazil, there are words there's some trending that Brazil uses machines too for their elections. And we're learning with more and more of these cases that are not at a national attention. There's a lot of questions about what's going on with these machines
Right.
that tally these elections. Happens in Brazil, happens in other countries. Many countries, not just the US, use these tabulation machines. And we're now learning they can be manipulated. You can manipulate it for another country if you want to. Okay? So if you put enough money into it and you have enough people involved, you can manipulate whatever you want to. That's why there's a concern. So we're seeing all these countries with people who are not polling high all of a sudden winning elections. Could it happen? Oh, come on. Okay?
I mean, his was a little weird. The Bolsonaro Lula one was a little weird because I do remember it was like it was a shoo-in that he was going to win, and then like overnight, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's Bolsonaro, it's Lula. It's like,
Le Pen was
what?
trending. Le Pen's party was the party. She was supposed to win it because look at Macron. He's falling apart, right? Everybody was so excited over there. The people are excited. Out of the blue, boom! Now all of a sudden she can't run for 5 years. The
Yeah.
international court decided that, and then they wonder why you have these riots in the street in these nations. But yeah, look at Venezuela. Same story. That's how Maduro got in. Questionable elections. And now there's no funding of private industry anymore. The government takes it over. So you blame the treasurer, but that's what a socialist does.
Right.
Look at Mamdani in the city. That's what he wants to do. We're taking over the grocery stores. We're going to have city-run grocery stores. Good luck with that.
Well,
Okay? Go to Venezuela and check it out. See what it's like.
the sad thing is when you look at Brazil's like how much the dollar was worth. Like first off, they suppress a lot of information to those Brazilians because I'll tell my friends stuff that they're just like, "Well, I've never heard of that," and then it's like, "Here's the article," right? So
Yeah.
I think they do a good job at manipulating the media over there. But when you look at what their dollar was worth like 2 years ago versus what it is now, it's like it's scary. It's scary. It's like half of what it was 2 years ago.
So people have to understand that that could have been us if
Yeah.
not for the power and the resolve of the American people. We were mocked. We were called crazy conspiracy people. Those of us who fought to say something's not right here. And as much as they all quote unquote, bad talk Donald Trump, they may not love him, but I'm sure many of these world leaders respect the fact that he fought his way out of exactly what Bolsonaro went through, what Le Pen's going through, and that's why he's doing the right. Trump is doing what he thinks is right to say, no, 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 you're not going to do this to another individual who's trying to run a somewhat democratic country. And he's slapping tariffs on there in Brazil to say, you know what, fix your elections. Same thing we're going to do in the
Right.
UK if they keep going with this free speech garbage, just like J.D. Vance said. We don't have to trade with you, and we can use our power as, a world power to force you without a gun, without a war, to really take a look at your policies and say, stop calling yourself a constitutional republic over there in the UK or Democrat when you don't let your own people speak. You're throwing them in jail. There's no free speech. Same thing in places like Brazil and whatnot. So they may not like Trump, but you got to take a pause and you got to look at this guy and say, boy, he really fought his way through exactly what a lot of these other world leaders are now getting a taste of.
Right. So
But fortunately, I don't feel sorry for. I don't really feel sorry for the people of Brazil or Venezuela, these other countries, right? We always have to cry for them. Stand up for your country like we did here. Take it on the chin like a lot of people did in 2017, 2018. People from January 6th who went to jail, right? Lost their businesses, their lives. That's the American spirit. And I'm always encouraged when I see like Brazil, they'll have 100,000 people out on the street protesting an election.
right.
God bless them. Keep it up, and maybe it'll make a difference. They do it like for a week.
Well, remember
We can do that here.
in China, I forget what it was, but remember it was an election in China where I think it was like 1 million people showed up. Do you remember that?
Well, if you mean Tiananmen Square, where they had
I
the
don't
tanks.
think it could it have been. This was like
Said the
two. This was
anniversary
like
of
two.
that. Yeah,
Oh no, this
that
was like
the last protest.
oh maybe.
Tiananmen Square was a big protest over there against the government.
No,
but
no, no.
yeah,
I'm talking about during COVID. You don't remember this one during COVID? It was like towards the tail end of COVID. It had to be like 2 years ago.
Oh, in China
Yeah, I believe it was China. I'd
or
have
Hong
to-
Kong? I think it was Hong Kong.
That's still China, right?
Hong Kong was no. Well, Hong Kong was independent, and by a certain date they were taken over by China, or they were
Oh,
supposed to be taken over by China, meaning China was going to absorb them. It was the part of the agreement when the UK kind of left Hong Kong
right.
before the communists came in. It was a separate country, and I remember during COVID they were all getting very anxious because they didn't want to fall under
That must have
China's
been what it
rule.
was, but that was a big. Uh, there's a lot of people have that too. I don't even remember how we
Yes,
got to that. Is
yeah.
this live or pre-recorded? It's live, Blue Ninja. Okay. Well, speaking of tariffs and stuff that the DT does, Donald Trump signs major crypto legislation Genius Act into law. Now, I did not read this one, so you might have to give me the rundown.
It's a simple. It's a pretty straightforward. Crypto was always the bad guy. Everyone hated crypto. We've talked about it. It has
Right.
to be regulated. It has to be regulated. So they signed this Genius Act, which is an acronym for something. It's in the article, but um, financial transactions are now going to be tied to the stable coin. Okay,
Yeah.
so it gives banks, businesses, and financial institutions they can issue crypto assets backed 1-to-1 with the U.S. dollar or T bills or other cash equivalents. Why is that a big deal? It's going to create some rules for the industry, and you're going to have digital dollars all over the world. That
Starts
matters because
regulations.
a digital dollar is going to equal a US dollar, which is going to affect the demand for our treasuries. Also helps build our economy.
Right.
Genius move on his part, but we've been calling for this. As you know, we've had discussions about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and how there's no rules and people get away with anything. For what it's worth, we needed this. So this is kind of an answer to BRICS, right? To these countries that said, "Oh, we're getting rid of the dollar as the standard." Hell no, that's going to mess up us long term. So by introducing this, many countries can now transact,
Right.
and as you know, you do it. It's dollar for
It's
dollar,
kind of
dollar
like,
basis.
is that going to become kind of like the new petrol dollar in a sense? Now it's like a
Um,
universal petrol? We'll answer that in a second.
I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't compare it to that. I don't know enough about the petrodollar to say that, but I just think it's another, not Hail Mary, but another means to pull us out of the very bad direction we were going after the last administration.
Right.
When you have, what is it, Brazil, Russia, India, and what was the C, China,
China? Yeah.
talking about getting rid of the US dollar. Okay, people say, oh, so what does that make? Oh, it's a huge difference for us economically.
Yeah.
So between the tariffs, doing this, creating a whole new financial, and you know what? It takes a lot of, because as people get to know the cryptocurrency business, it takes a lot of the human subjectivity out of it, right? Dollar for dollar transaction. Here it is. This is what it is. Doesn't matter if it's Switzerland. Doesn't matter if it's, Hungary. Doesn't matter if it's Canada. It is what it is, right?
Um, my my only problem with the crypto stuff, as someone who my feelings on crypto, I don't like when Trump goes, "Oh, we're $1 trillion in debt. Let's just write off $1 trillion in crypto." Like, sorry, $31 trillion in crypto. That's easy to say, but I don't think that that's logical. Like, I don't even think that's possible because I don't think there is 31 or whatever $1 trillion in debt we like. I don't understand why people think that you could just write that off like that. It doesn't work.
Well, you can. I mean, people write off debt. I don't think they're going to write off our total debt. But yeah, no, you can write off debt. That's a
In
it's a
crypto?
financial transaction. Well, crypto, he's saying, and I'm not economically savvy about this, but he's looking for an alternative to just not have it sit out there as being debt for us, right? So how do you get rid of debt? You pay it off or you bring in more revenue to pay it, right?
Right.
And we're not talking a simple credit card here. There's a lot of things that go into balancing this. When you introduce crypto to it, right? Part of the I don't really want to go into this because I don't want to say I don't want to sound stupid and say the wrong thing. But you could be a lot of our problems financially is because we've been generating money, literally printing money
Yeah.
with nothing to back it. We
Yeah.
don't use gold or anything anymore. That's what creates inflation. That's what causes your problems. But it also adds to our debt, right? And that's not good. So when you introduce a dollar for dollar currency, I'm not saying you could use that to wipe out 31 trillion and say, okay, now I got 31 trillion crypto coins or something like that.
I still think one of the funniest memes of all time is when the guy goes, technically, we could just like give the debt to someone else. We could get rid of the debt. I sent you this clip a long time ago, but there's this guy. He's like,
Yeah.
it's the middle of the night. He goes, We could just give it to some guy named Dave. We could fuck Dave's life up. Dave's life up. Well, we all go back to nothing. Fuck Dave.
Oh, it worked that way, right?
But I just thought it was so funny. He's like, why don't we just give all the debt to Dave? Dave who? Just the guy Dave. Make his life miserable so we all could be happy. But
well, it's amazing before we got to this big, beautiful bill thing that was passed. Yeah, there's some good things, but there's some crap in there too. We all know that. It's just amazing to hear what people fight over keeping in these bills. Oh, we have to pay for this. We have to pay for that. At the end of the day, I'm like, no, we don't. Government's just there to like do basic things. It has morphed into this giant creature.
Right.
That now it's a bunch of we have tos. $31 trillion worth of we have to. Right? Where did this happen? And it's a national security issue. If you're weakened economically, you're ripe for the taking. So, if for nothing else, by doing these things, it gives our economy a momentum to start dealing. And you know what? Let's get out of the old system of this Wall Street financial stuff. Let's start doing it with a currency that's computer-based, right?
Right.
It's an interesting way of doing it.
Yeah. Kind of still scares me a little bit, but are y'all into crypto? Do y'all invest and have multiple currencies? I'm still not a crypto person. I know everyone's like, oh, you should do it. But I've seen, the problem isn't, like, Bitcoin, fine. But all the other cryptos, like I see these pump and dump schemes, it just like turns me off from crypto. Like the shit coins, as they're called. I've seen too many people get scammed or scammed. I watched the Haktua coin, rug pull. Even the Trump coin, I think, was kind of a scam too.
But you gotta remember, this is different because this is tied to a stable coin, right. Dollar for dollar. This is not gonna go to $100,000 today and 30.
Right, you're just digitalizing the currency. Yeah.
What I would say is, and what I plan to do is, I will be learning a lot more about it, because if this is the future, and I personally like the idea, just from my experience, because I've been through the crash in 1987, we've all been through 2007, 2008. In 1987, that was securities based, like the stock market and whatnot. Right. And whenever those things happen, they always tend to get more automated. They always try and take more of the control away from humans, for better, for worse. So they put in all these systems, like NASDAQ, for instance, where there's all these limits. If we ever had another run on stocks or whatever, the whole system shuts down automatically, so we can't have another crash happen. For something like this, although I don't think it's similar to that, but we're bringing in more of an computer-based financial, taking it out of the hands of individuals who tend to affect things and cause crashes sometimes. I'm not against it, but we do have changes to the stock market that regulated it more to make it a little bit fairer for some people. I'm not against this, and I'm interested in learning more about it just because it is computer based. I do like the idea of it not being totally in the hands of individuals who can manipulate things. Right. Not to say computers can't, but at least I got a paper trail with a computer. I can figure it out. A little tougher when these backdoor deals are being done and nothing's documented, and all of a sudden we have problems with the stock market or with the bond market.
Yeah, or when certain people can't do their audits. Looking at you, mm-hmm. Pentagon. 300 and whatever $billion. They just like don't know what happened to it. That'll never make sense to me. But all right, what else do we got? Here's what I'm seeing this one now. I didn't send you this one, but did you watch Gavin Newsom on the Sean Ryan show, Mom? I don't know if you know who Sean Ryan is, but he's a military guy. I
know the name. I know he did something because I saw some of the headlines from him, but I just don't have any time for Gavin Newsom. I gotta tell you,
man. Let me talk about pandering. He's doing exactly what a presidential candidate should do: play to the side that hates you the most.
Yeah.
Like again, he's one of those people where you gotta be careful with Gavin Newsom because he seems like the most down to earth dude. He's one of the guys, just chill to hang out with. But when you look at what he did to California, and you go like during COVID where he turned the water off on everyone, but he used it for his vineyards, like shit like that. The guy's just garbage. So, but it's funny how he's like, oh, a free gun. I'm not anti-firearms. It's just I want education. So he threw that pistol out the second he got it. Like the second he got home, he threw that thing in the dumpster. He's a bullshitter. But
Yeah.
I just don't believe a word that comes out of that guy's head. But he's at least. It's funny because he's so. I will say he's a great politician because he can go back and forth and make you believe certain things, which is probably why he's been in office for so long. But I just saw that and I wanted
I
to
think
see on the side here.
people have left California in droves. Why do you think Arizona's turning purple? They all left California and went
Right.
to Arizona. They're all going to Nevada. They're all heading over to Utah. They cannot get out of that state fast enough. And I can't speak to the future. If somebody like that has the nerve to run for president, which, some will make the case, please. I hope he does. All you got to do is run the same thing in loops. Just keep showing
He has
fires
so many. Yeah.
just show the fires. Show the Mexicans with their flags burning down parts of LA. Just loop that over and over. Then go back to COVID if you want to. And loop his vineyard. Loop the pictures of him out to dinner. Show
He
his kids at the private
he
schools.
has too
Right?
much
Just
of
keep
a.
doing
He's
that.
got too much of a past to.
Right.
I mean, even be considered. Rogan just had
No,
a Democrat on the other day. That was pretty.
he has a political record. Go ahead, you stand on that. Tell me how great that state is when people are leaving in droves to go someplace else.
Well, what is this? Johnny
Oh,
Carson was it?
and
Oh,
post the
sorry.
gas prices too, by the way. I think gas is like $5 a gallon in California, from what I read. I'm
Oh yeah,
exaggerating,
yeah. No,
but
no, no.
with all
You're
the
right.
taxes and
It's like
everything,
six.
insane.
Yeah.
What middle class person? And by the way, California's the type of state you got to drive everywhere. There's no real mass transit. Oh,
Well,
please,
yeah.
let's put the train in there too. Let's talk about the train. He was having a fit because Trump canceled that money. That we call that a boondoggle. The train to nowhere.
Boondoggle.
Billions of taxpayer dollars wasted on that. Okay, add that to your campaign.
Right, and that's where I remember when they looked at the California fires and they found that they burned almost exactly in the same way that train line was supposed to be, almost like it was done on purpose. But whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
Mind you, I loved California. I was going to move there after I graduated college. That's where I was going. Beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful state. All of it.
not
Beautiful.
anymore.
Coastline, everything. They've ruined it. They have ruined that state. Another state that I just, it's sad.
Oh yeah. Mom, what is this? Johnny Carson was right. Keep politics out of late night. Does this have to do with Colbert getting canceled?
Yes, Colbert, because, they canceled me for financial reasons. Yeah, because you weren't making money because nobody was watching you.
Is that
And
true?
they
I always
didn't
thought
want to.
Colbert was like one of the only ones that was being watched.
No, he was losing like $40 million a year. I mean, it had to go. Nobody's watching him. But the genius of it, and you watch, Kimmel will be next. They brought out
Well,
an
real
old
fast,
clip.
Mom. Like, I don't know anyone that watches these shows anymore. Remember, I think the only thing keeping Jimmy Fallon alive is they'll have celebrities do it now. I don't know if you've seen that, but he's not even on there,
Yes, I've
right?
seen
So that's
that.
the
I've
only thing.
seen
Like
that.
Chris Stefano did it the other day, and
I
was
saw that. He
yeah.
was pretty good.
yeah.
It was pretty
But
good.
okay, so you keep the show. Get rid of Kimmel. Call it something else, right?
Right.
Kimmel is what's holding you back as a show.
Well, but here's the point. If you watch that clip of Johnny Carson, so Johnny Carson was the king of late night.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
he was the original one for this. He did a little funny monologue, did a little bit of jokes about the president, whatever, but they were nothing to the
Kind
extent
of like
that you
Conan.
see today.
Conan wasn't super political. Conan
Right,
O'Brien.
right. You could do your jokes, but he was harmless with his jokes, right? By today's standards, it was nothing. But he talks about, no, you don't bring politics into late night. That's not what it is. It's entertainment. If you start doing that, blah, 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 blah. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what these individuals started doing. It became political and biased political. They obviously hated particular people, and they brought celebrities on to talk about how much they hate them, and that's not a formula for winning. It's
And
just
Jimmy
not.
Kimmel has like one of the worst pasts as a late night show host in the sense of he'll call you out for blackface or whatever, and then they show literally a video of him doing blackface. So
The hypocrisy.
yeah, he's like how he's not between him and the View. I don't know how the hell they're still going strong, but the View,
gonna say,
the View is
how is
government.
The
Yeah,
View
Whoopi
going?
Goldberg. I swear to God, like I don't think she's ever even opened a book in her life. But
Oh, I don't know if that's true, but it's just
I
how
feel
does
like
a
it's
show
true.
like that? Who is watching this show? Who keeps it going? That's why everybody was so open arms over NPR and PBS, the funding of them. But we've had this conversation. It's gone on since radio. We have free speech. Problem is liberal radio. Or I guess I don't call it liberal versus conservative radio. It never lasts. people don't want to listen to it. You have to, it always needs some sort of subsidy. And they claim, well, that's free speech to have subsidy. No, that's not free speech. Anybody's allowed a platform, but if you don't have the audience, goodbye. Sorry. That's
Yeah.
capitalism. Obviously, you're not selling something that a portion of the country wants to hear, like it or not.
Yeah. Those late night shows, I think all of them are kind of on their last legs in the sense of I don't know anyone that watches mainstream TV anymore. Everyone's on
Well, it's a
Hulu, Netflix.
generational thing.
Yeah,
It's
so that's what I mean.
generational. I mean,
Now, if
I'll
they
watch it
give me
for celebrities from time to time. Like I
if
don't
they
mind if
give
I'm.
me the contract, Mom, I'm gonna be the next Kimmel.
Yeah, you'll do it. You
I'll
ready
do
for
it.
it?
I don't
Put
know.
me in,
Like
coach.
Conan O'Brien was really good at it. Like I was never, I never watched those shows, but he was actually entertaining, and he never really talked about politics. To Johnny Carson's point, maybe a little like knock here or there, but remember he used to have that thing with Jordan Schlansky. Remember Schlansky? In The Office, he was the guy that
Yeah.
would show up late. He was like the executive director or something like that. And Conan would
And
just make
the
fun of
show
him.
The
Yeah.
Office.
No,
Yeah.
no, no,
Okay.
no, no,
Yeah.
no, no. Conan
I
O'Brien.
thought you meant the character of The Office.
No, Schlansky was the guy. He was a pretty hot, it was a joke, but George Schlansky would come in and he would, like Conan would already be waiting at his desk. He's like, "Can you tell me what you do here?" And he's like, "Well, I come in at 9, I make my coffee." He's like, "Why are you doing coffee for 30 minutes?" Like, it's just funny how he breaks him down. It's a complete joke, and the guy's very monotone in the skits. So
Yeah.
it worked really well. But it's skits like that Kimmel has tried to do with the whole Matt Damon thing, right? You know the
Yes.
thing it's not the same. It's just not. Like Jimmy Kimmel has just become political. That's really it. No
I
one
don't really
likes
watch them because, and here's the other side of it. What was nice about Johnny Carson is a Democrat and a Republican or a liberal conservative could watch it
Right.
because it was apolitical. That's what was nice about it. A celebrity came on, they talk about their show, the people they work with. It was light, it was interesting. Why must everything be a battle? I think that's what's really weighing on the American people. Why do you keep creating these environments like Saturday Night Live used to be an okay show? It was funny. It was stupid funny. You didn't mind it. Then when it goes into the politics, now it's like nobody. You can't. It's not something you can come together as a group and watch because one person's going to be uncomfortable or somebody's going to be uncomfortable because you're mocking something and it's not balanced. They don't balance it. So that's the side of it that I just feel like we're losing something with late night. It's nice sometimes to just turn on a channel and not have to be inundated with Trump's derangement syndrome or I hate liberal America. I just we're all one country, and that was nice with Johnny Carson. Everybody knew the guest. Everybody talked about it. Oh, did
Right.
you see it last night? It was never like, oh, I hated it or whatever. So, but I used to watch Johnny Carson when I was a kid. I would sneak out because we lived on one floor, or we lived in a bi-level.
You snuck out?
No, I snuck out of my room, and I would go into the kitchen because there was the dining room and the TV was there.
Right.
And I would stand there, and my parents knew it. My parents weren't big, and we never had like a bedtime when I was a little kid. It was up to whatever you wanted to do.
The hell? I had a bedtime till I was like in college.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It was
I
like-
had it, but they were like,
You would beat us if we. You would hit us if we didn't go to bed by 6 o'clock, Mom.
Well, the irony is, it's really the kid because when I got older, I was more disciplined than I think my parents in terms of going to bed and whatever.
I remember
I watched Johnny Carson
without
My
saying-
parents, like, sit in the hallway.
Without saying names, like I look back on it and I was like, remember those kids that didn't have bedtimes? I won't say last names because we're live, but I would be like, oh my God, you guys don't have bedtimes. And now they're like the most screwed up people. They're like, I feel terrible, but yeah, couldn't get their lives together. Not that that was the problem, but it definitely doesn't help.
It's usually not just bedtime. Like I was
There's other things.
screwed up just because I didn't have a set bedtime. I had other,
Yeah, well, what screwed you up was you were
Correct.
going to bed at 4 a.m. and you had to be up at 6 as a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
that
I mean,
kind of screws you up.
Yeah, I mean, we had more of a discipline from early bed, or you had to be up early. So if I wasn't sharp, it would have been a problem. But I managed to get by. Anyhow, my point is, I used to like to watch that with my parents at night. And even as I got older, I was really disappointed when he was gone. I never watched it. I was just like, oh, Johnny Carson's gone. He's retiring. Oh, it's so
Right.
sad. And then Jay Leno well, Joan Rivers did it for a while.
Really?
Jay Leno. Jay
Well,
Leno's totally.
Jay-
I think he's conservative, but he was always
Jay
apolitical.
Leno, yeah, legend. obviously.
Yeah.
Um,
Letterman was pretty good, but even he started to get a little bit with the a little too much with the politics towards the end of that too. But
yeah, I can't think of anyone now who's not political. Fallon, Jimmy Fallon's okay usually, but he doesn't. Every now and then he'll say something that's kind of stupid, but you know.
they always allege that he's got some sort of problem.
He had a drinking problem. Remember the drinking problem that I think both him and
They
Kimmel had drinking problems.
they allege that. I don't know, but you know.
What's this one, Mom? Is it worth going into? I'm looking at the RFK, Junior Rubio,
Oh,
formula reject World Health
you know,
Organization expansion of power, or
here's
is it a
another.
skip?
So a year ago, before the election, right? This was a big deal that nobody was talking about. So post pandemic, the WHO wanted to. They were drafting a document basically saying that every country has to sign on to it because next time we have an emergency, we need to dictate what every country has to do. And believe it or not, for those of us in the conservative radio were finding out about this, people in this country didn't know it. And we didn't have a say. It was going to be presented to Congress and they were going to vote on it. And we would have to follow some organization over in Europe. Okay. Which all sounded good during COVID because everyone was like, oh, we need rules and regs because we're all going to die. For those who was like, hell no, we don't want some other entity telling us what rules we have to follow, especially as we started to realize that they were full of crap with some of their rules and regs, right? Everybody
Right.
must be vaxxed. We need a card. You can't travel without a card. It was ridiculous. Anyhow, a small country in like Africa stood up at one of these meetings, not America because we were under the Biden regime,
Right.
and said, no, we're not giving up we're not signing on to this. But I think it was becoming one of those, the majority was going to force everybody to do it.
Right.
Thank God, Rubio and JFK, they saw this for what it is and said, no, the American people do not sign on to this. We have our own sovereignty. We will make our own rules and regs when these things happen. And that's not acceptable. We're not going to do medical cards. We're not going to go back to the way things were, where some entity that's not even somebody we elected is going to dictate to us what we do. So this is another one like we're talking about. It was small attention, but a huge deal.
Take your word for it. Here's a bigger deal, Ma. Did you watch the it seems like being political comes with the territory with being a TV host on any of the big networks. Well, yeah, because they're usually owned by either the Murdochs or freaking Soros, but that's besides the point. Okay, did you watch the WNBA All-Star game?
Oh gosh.
Did
I did not.
What?
I found it from your grandmother who had to announce to your father. And let me say, yes, your grandmother is still alive, even though she said this to your father.
Uh-oh.
Those girls are better than the men.
Oh, wow.
They make all their shots.
That's crazy. Well, Angel Reese.
Keep walking, Grandma.
Yeah. That was a bad idea. Yeah.
No,
they added four. They added the 4-pointers for them. Yeah, but whatever.
Oh, they're making all their 4-point shots, Irene. They're making. Yeah, oh, they're wonderful. They're great.
As they're passing to the enemy team so that they can get their points. It's like, this is stupid. So, but the best part is, they wore shirts that said, "Pay us what you owe us." Did you see this? Now,
yes, Dad told me that.
What's hilarious about that is, first off, in their defense, it's not you should pay us based on like how the NBA players get paid. They want their fair share of what the WNBA makes, right? Now, I don't know if you know this, but the WNBA lost $50 million this year. So does that mean that they should be paying?
Yeah,
so
they owe us.
That's something about the sport that I never understand. A lot of sports are like that, where even if you're losing money, everyone still gets paid. So I don't. Yeah. Sports are kind of a different animal when it comes to business, from what I'm learning. And but I just think it's so funny. Pay us what you owe us. It's more like you're supposed to be paying us because the NBA has to eat up the $50 million that the WNBA lost. Right? Get rid of it.
Well, it's a very antagonizing thing. If you're going to say something, you should pay us what we're worth, not what you owe us.
Yeah.
We don't owe you anything.
Yeah.
I mean, the fans are reading that too. I'm sure many of them are like, "Oh, we support you." Give
all 7 of them. Yeah.
$20 million contracts. No, I mean, there's a lot of people that support it, but that's just not, pay us what we're worth. I feel the NBA players get paid what they're worth. It's a ridiculous amount, but if that's the going rate, That's what they're worth between ticket sales and attention they generate. Um, and the women should be paid what they're worth. If they generate the kind of ticket sales, if they generate the media attention, absolutely. But you just don't say that to people.
Pay us what you
Pay
owe
me what
us.
you
Yeah.
owe me. I don't owe you anything. What do you tell me the
You put a
NBA
ball
players
in
owe
the
them?
yeah. They get paid because their sport's actually interesting to watch. I watched the enemy team purposely pass to a girl so she could make her 4-point shot. Don't act like we owe you shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bad PR.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're trying to prove here with that.
The whole sport's in disarray. Angel Reese sucks. She has the most records for me bounds, which she literally had to coin her own term because it's so bad. A me bound. It's when she misses it enough times and grabs it, it counts as a rebound. So it's a me bound.
Yeah.
But also, not to mention the fact that your main moneymaker, Caitlin Clark, who is the whole reason any of you people have names, whether you like it or not, you treat her like absolute shit because of whoever she is, whether it's race related or whatever. Maybe their attention, they don't like the attention she gets. That's the person you should be leaning into, and you kind of treat her like she barely exists. It's very strange, right?
Well, I think that is part of I think it's being done intentionally to bring attention to, oh, watch poor Caitlin Clark, so they'll watch the NBA. I think even negative attention gives them attention,
Sure.
unfortunately. But I just don't think this is the right way to do it. I do think there's a market for the WNBA. I think there's a lot of young women, young girls, who are more interested in basketball, certainly since my lifetime, and it's good for them to have role models in these sports. I just don't like when they force it, Like everybody has to love us. You have to pay us. You have to watch us. You have to do all these things. No, we don't.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna read this. I said, has the WNBA ever had a profitable year? No, the WNBA has never had a profitable year. Since its inception in 1997, the WNBA consistently lost money, with the NBA subsidizing the league annually. While revenue has increased in recent years, particularly with rising viewership and ticket sales, expenses still outpace the income. The league is projected to lose $50 million in 2024, despite increased interest and record-breaking attendance and viewership. So, again, I go back to, what exactly do we owe you?
Right. And, sometimes when you start a league, you are going to take a loss for the first few years. You invest money in
Right.
it, and you got to build the momentum. That's fine. I don't know that the WNBA will ever be at that level of popularity as the NBA. I don't say it's impossible. I just don't see it in my lifetime. But that doesn't mean there isn't a market for it. It's just somebody's got to stop with this. They should be on par with the NBA. No, they shouldn't be on par. The NBA's been around a lot longer. They've had more time to build. And, you certainly don't help yourself when you're dealing with, we've been fighting a battle about men and women's sports and whatnot. So you've really been treating women's sports like, secondhand citizens. Now, all of a sudden, well, here's one that will take this women's sport and we have to elevate it automatically to the other level.
Right.
No, it didn't happen overnight for the NBA, and you got to build. Same thing with the NFL. Same thing with, FIFA. You build it over time. It's just not right to say we're demanding it now.
Yeah.
We want it.
Especially when you're not if you are bringing in money, yeah, sure. But you're not bringing in money, right? And any payment that you guys are getting besides your annual salaries, I mean, it's going to be in your jersey sales, right? I think for any NBA player, I believe jersey sales, I don't know if that's true, but I think jersey sales are up there.
I'll tell you this, though. If the NBA wants to continue to subsidize, that's fine. Just don't use my tax dollars to do it.
Right.
And eventually, as a business decision, if the WNBA doesn't start producing, then the NBA could decide, well, you know what, LeBron, I can't pay as much. I'm using him as an example because we need to pay the women a certain amount. Oh, let's see how many of the men want to go through that.
Right. Speaking of sports, robot umpires to make All-Star Game debut, another step towards possible regular season use in 2026. I'm not a big baseball fan. I've been getting more into it because of my uncle. But I have to say, out of all the sports, I'm surprised that this is the last of the Mohegans when it comes to using AI.
Yeah.
Like, do you know how many, you have a strike zone that's a box, right?
Yeah.
Let's say 20% of the time, maybe 10% of the time, umpires are getting it wrong, right? Like, obviously, like you can see the ball out and they'll call it a strike or whatever. Um, I'm surprised of all the sports, right?
Yeah.
Baseball wasn't the first one to implement, especially in a sport that's statistic based, to implement AI right away.
Well, I'll tell you, there's probably diehards, and you have some in your grandfather, for
They're
instance, who
all
will
dead.
probably say you lose the art of the game. Now it becomes a science,
Right.
and that's okay. I'm not necessarily against that. It takes a certain amount of the art of it. There's some classic calls from World Series and whatnot that
Right.
could have gone a different way and changed everything.
But,
But
Mom, in a sport that, right, what's the Moneyball? Is that the movie with the guy that, like,
mhm,
used statistics?
statistics, yeah,
Baseball is a statistic slash scientific sport. Like, that's the whole, their entire plays and whatever you want to call it is based on statistics, right? They say it's the
every
most,
sport's getting that way,
yeah.
Chris.
But
Every
that's why I'm
sport.
saying of all the ones, statistically, you should have put a computer in. It's got to be that strike zone. Because that strike zone, as I said, the user error, size of different players, not one box fits all. And then,
Well, I think they're talking about adjusting it for like Judd, Aaron Judd, for
right,
instance. He's taller, bigger. They would adjust the strike zone. So you do have that level of
right.
expertise where or well, like functionality where you can do it
The
that
only
way.
thing the umps
Um,
should be used for is if someone's on like the infield and outfield, like the strike zone. I feel like that should be all computer.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's cool.
and you get two challenges because they brought it into tennis, and you get challenges. If you're
Right.
successful, you keep your challenge. If not, you use one up. So it should definitely, my thing with baseball, and again, the old timers will, or people who love the sport will challenge it. I just can't take the time.
So boring.
I can't take
They
the
do
pace.
everything possible to make it faster. Right now you have a pitch clock. Now I think
Yes.
in over or in extra innings, someone starts on second or something like that. Like
Right.
they try to make it go faster because, yeah,
But
one game's like 3 hours.
it's something where we have to pause because I forget this too. This was a pastime. People went on a Saturday because there was nothing else to do.
Yeah.
You went, you got a 5 cent ticket. You could have lunch there, dinner there. You're outside with your family, you're with your kid, you're not at work, you're not doing, stuff. It was our pastime. Nowadays we have tons of distractions where we don't need to sit 7 hours at a baseball game. So it's a wonderful part of Americana, the whole idea of a baseball game. That's was our entertainment, in the early days. But now I'm just like, oh, could we pick up the pace? I just can't
Yeah,
deal with that.
baseball's always tough.
Right.
Last article of the night, Mom. Florida man arrested for DUI on a lawnmower along a toll road. Lighten
The
it
sad
up.
part is, I mentioned this at dinner, and Dad's like, "Yeah, you see those all the time."
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Okay. Yeah. And it's Florida, so it happens. It's always a DUI, too.
I'm always, I always just shake my head at these stories. Like, what would prompt you to either drink that much or take that many drugs that you just feel like, all right, I'm driving this tractor on the highway? Like,
Well, you can get a DUI in a golf cart, right?
you
You
can,
can get a
you
DUI in a golf
can.
cart, so.
But where was he going? That's what I'd like to know. Where were you going? What did you realize you were on a highway? Did you not know?
Yeah. Did you not
Cars?
notice everything? Yeah. And the amount you'd have to drink to get to that point has to
Right.
be
Did you just decide I'm doing it, man? I'm driving to that
the
girl's
great,
house.
yeah, the Great Escape. That's like my car's, like I couldn't find the keys to my car because I was too intoxicated, but the keys are already in the lawnmower, so let's just head out.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
really the only common sense thing I could think of.
Or you know what? It's okay that I'm drunk. I'm on a lawnmower.
Yeah. You
Maybe
can't get
that's
a
true.
DUI on a lawnmower.
Go
Hey,
on a
guess what?
highway.
Yeah. Not very smart, but all right.
Oh, I love those stories. It was either that one or the enormous alligator that somebody took a video of, and the alligator was next to a car driving on the road. I swear to God, the alligator was as big as this
Wow.
compact car. It was huge.
Jeez. All right.
That was his morning article.
Any questions from the from chats?
We
Anything. It doesn't
covered a
have to be.
lot.
Yeah.
I told you we
It
have
was
a
only an
lot.
hour and a half too. It wasn't too crazy.
No.
Like I expected.
And we
like
hit
a two.
every one of the ones. See my little list? I
Yeah.
made a list this morning of just the topics. Like, these are the things that I think I'm going to cover. And we did even more. I didn't even have the lawnmower guy on this.
I am
Okay.
exhausted.
Wow.
So if anyone wants to ask us any questions, you're more than welcome to.
We were so thorough, they have nothing to ask
They have nothing. Yeah.
other than grandma. So grandma's getting her stitches out tomorrow. No, her staples. And then we got the orthopedist on Wednesday. So we'll give you a follow up next weekend on the
Yeah.
podcast how that shit
Hopefully.
show
Yeah.
went.
Hopefully that doesn't go too bad. I mean, if it's broken, luckily it's a clean break, right?
Yeah.
So it should heal pretty quickly for Graham, but I guess I still want to see because I have yet to see the stitches in Grandma's head, so we'll have to see
Oh,
how
I
that
haven't seen
goes.
them either. I haven't taken that bandage off.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, the paperwork, not to bore people, but the paperwork was like, oh, yeah, just be careful if you get it wet, blah, blah, blah. And I happened to call your uncle who gave me no information but paperwork. I said, listen, they say about cleaning it. When he
Ooh.
goes, no, 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 you can't get that wet. Don't get that wet.
Here's a
That,
question. This is a good one because I have seen this. Have you seen the interesting theory on Twitter saying that Jeffrey Epstein is alive and possibly living in Thailand, Vietnam, or Cambodia? What's up, Swample? That's a great name, Swample. I've heard this theory. I forget what the name of his like second in command was, but there was a guy that they think that 3 minutes where that 3 minute part where he's missing was
yeah.
more than enough time to switch him out with someone. And again, no one's really seen his face. They've seen the autopsy, but they've never really seen his face, to my understanding. So I could be wrong on that
I
one,
suppose
but
it's possible. I suppose it's possible.
yeah, I remember they said that Hitler moved to Argentina after World War II, and that's why Argentina has a high German population now.
Well,
A lot of the
Brazil
Nazis moved
was
over
where
there.
all the Nazis went
Is
to
that true?
Brazil. Yes.
I mean,
I told you the Boys from Brazil, the movie with it's from Laurence Olivier, where they cloned the Nazi. They cloned Hitler and made Hitler boys. But the movie was called Boys from Brazil.
really?
Yes.
All I know,
Giselle Bundchen.
all,
Excuse me, Giselle
all.
Bundchen.
Oh yeah,
All
good
I'm
point.
saying. Okay. Okay.
All I know. Well, never mind.
Not inferring anything. I
Yeah.
don't want Giselle suing me.
I
Saying she's a
was
Nazi.
gonna say we gotta be a little careful with that one. What other ones do we have? Any other questions? I mean,
That's it. I
we'll
mean,
literally do
that's
anyone.
not a crazy theory. I don't. I would not say, and I'm not. I could see that being something.
Yeah. I mean,
But
maybe
maybe they
it's
snuck him
not.
out, put another body in, and hung that body. I don't know. He had the money to do it, supposedly.
Yeah.
My friend had a good question. She said, "Where's all his money?
Oh,
Where
I'm
all his
sure.
money?"
I'm sure the government seized it. Someone must have seized it.
How do you
They had
seize it
to.
if you don't have access to it?
It's got to
not
be
like
in
he had to shop
some.
in
It's got to be in
mattresses.
some kind of bank somewhere.
Exactly. Well, I'm sure it's in many banks all over.
Right.
But it was a good question. I'm like, where's that money? He didn't have any children, didn't have any family. Where is all that money?
Yeah, good point. Maybe just Lane's holding out, or yeah, just like Maxwell. What do you think about Turkey? Do you mean the food or the country? I like a good turkey, if that's what. I'm gonna
We
assume you
tend
mean
to
the
like the
country.
boar's
But
head honey maple here, but
yeah, we're
the country of Turkey?
yeah we're. Oh, you're from Turkey. Oh, the country. Never been there. Hear good things. I mean, used to have Constantinople. Still kind of have a version of that. I forget what it's called, but
Yeah, I have never been to Turkey, and has a tremendous history. Right, that's part of the parts of it was Holy Land area.
yeah,
Time
the
to
history
pray
of Turkey. I
from
mean,
the
it
early
was the
Christian.
center of the world at one point.
Yes, lots of battles during the Crusades, Turkey, and it used to change hands back and forth. Right, first it was
Yeah,
Alexander conquered it, then Muslim sheikhs came in, or not the Muslims, the
you should
what do you
visit
call
one
them?
day.
What do they call them? The
What?
Oh, geez, now it's going to bother me.
Uh-oh.
They
What
have
have
a
you
special
done,
name.
Swample? um, do you think that the push for Mars colonization is fake and a money cash grab from taxpayers to create a shadow operation for nefarious stuff? No, I think people
Wow.
just genuinely want to go to Mars. I think it's habitable, so that's why they want to do it. But I don't know. I think too many people have too many things to do on Earth before they start going to a different world. Just start over. Because remember, the first people that get there are going to be the ones that have to do the bulk of the work, whether you're a citizen or not. Like what I mean by citizen is I mean
Well,
like a person.
I think you have to think out of the box a little bit here because I think that's the next pioneer, right? That's the next land to be. I mean, it's really people thought pioneers were crazy, going past that border there. You're going to a place they knew
Right.
nothing what was past those trees. Didn't even know how far away it was. They didn't know how far it would go. So I could see that being with all the hype over the last millennium of going to the moon and going to this doing all these orbits and whatnot and satellites, and why not take it further and go to a planet. um so yeah, I could see that I think there's some value in that. I think we need to explore outside of our own comfort zone of this world, see what else is out there. I don't know, there's some theories that maybe we never even went to the moon, right? That might have been a joke. um but we do know we're at a minimum. We know
Yeah.
we're able to satellite. We
Is
can
it?
we can orbit things.
Yeah.
We've seen that.
Is it worth it? I guess is the question. But yeah, I don't know. That's one of those things that I don't think it's going to happen during our lifetimes. I think that's going to be something that maybe someone will do once, come back, and then be like, it's possible, and then it's going to be the next 5 decades trying to figure out if we can maintain life on there and do this and do that.
Anything, if you notice, anytime we do something with other planets, is always dystopian. It's
Always.
never like a happy, pleasant place.
Yeah.
It's always like screwed up looking aliens living there, and the oxygen's not good, and
Did you
it's always dirty and
did you see
dark.
Did you see Australia made like a black box for human civilization? So if we all get wiped out tomorrow, if someone comes finds us, it'll have all of the Earth's data in it. I was like, that's a pretty morbid thought. Thanks,
Yeah,
Australia.
that's dark. That's dark. Could we just do a time capsule?
Yeah, really.
Have to be negative stuff. Put some good stuff in there. Oh, jeez. This is what I mean. Human nature is getting so dark.
Yeah.
Kind of sad. We need more hope, more positivity out there.
Anything else, guys? Any other questions before we wrap it up?
That's why we do the lawnmower stories. Okay?
Yeah, we got to lighten up the
Positive.
mood.
Be hopeful. We do our hopeful stuff. Oh, I saw some article. I didn't bring it today, but Neuralink.
Yeah.
They tried to pass themselves off as like what was the term? A struggling company. It's worth like 9 billion. Some
Yeah.
ridiculous amount of money
It's
to get some sort of subsidies. So like, whoa, no, not a good movie, Lon.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's not doing as well as he would like. I have to believe hundreds of millions of dollars just goes into research.
Oh, I'm sure, but he's trying to get, or the company's trying to get some sort of special classification or categorization so that they can get funding of some sort. But I'm like, nah, that's not going to fly. You got too much money going in that company.
No.
I got to believe you're not meeting that criteria. But I brought that up because we talked about orbiting in the moon, and now he wants to go to Mars, right?
Yeah. Which, again, I'm not against it, but I'm not. You won't see me on that thing, on that
Chris ain't
rocket.
going to
I'm
Mars?
not going.
Chris, you don't leave that apartment.
I don't, yeah. Is there a gym on Mars that, yeah. I barely want to go to my car, and it's literally outside my window. Like,
It's a big adventure going to
Yeah.
Harris Teeter.
I get winded. I get
miles.
winded going from my desk to my bed over there.
Oh my God, Mars. Yeah. Okay.
I'll give it another minute and a half for any questions. Yeah.
Yeah, just check and see if they shut the door. Bobo.
Oh. I mean, we could call it there. All right, guys. Well, let's wait for Mom to come back, and then we can call it a night. We got a lot done. That felt like a good podcast. Sorry, I'm a little lethargic. I've just been, like, today, as I said, like, I did not sleep well. Tried taking a nap. That didn't work, so I have, like, no energy left. But, Mom, I think we can wrap it up.
Okay.
Another one done. Yeah.
We say in the can in the movie industry.
In the can.
Another one in the can.
Yeah. So the only things that I have to promote from last week, if I even remember, what did I even post? Oh, that's right. So last week's podcast, obviously, and then on Wednesday, I think it was, I posted a video on Heartbound. I played. Remember that pirate software guy, the
No.
one that from last week, the one that the I Kill Games
Oh
initiative.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes,
he's
yes.
the one that's
Yeah.
like ruining his career right now. I played
Yes.
his game, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but he's getting a lot of shit online for it. When I'm like, okay, I've lost so much interest in the case. So
Right.
I played it. It wasn't a bad game. It wasn't a great game, but it was exactly what you would expect it to be. And then yesterday I posted the speed run for Resident Evil 5, the base. Or sorry, Resident Evil, yeah, 5, the base game. So yeah, and then there's one more DLC that I have to post for that, which will be next Saturday, and then after that is Revelations 2. And then this week we have a big game coming out, the Wu Chang game, which is like a Wukong. So I'm excited to start that. That'll be the next Souls like that we do, and that's pretty much it for me. So this comes out. If you weren't here for the whole thing, this comes out again tomorrow. Uh, well, it's gonna be saved, so it's on YouTube and then it'll be on Spotify on Tuesday. So that's pretty much it. So social media, promo codes, stream links, Discord down below, and hopefully we'll see you next week for the recorded podcast.